Hello everyone, this is Jasmine, aka Gladiatorinsweats, and I guess I just wanted to do a little quick video of this because I was about to like type it out, but I feel I should just do a video real quick, and I really hope that I keep this short and sweet. And I just wanted to talk about this whole term, Lightworkers, I guess specifically, but I really feel like this is just really talking about labels in general, and I want to use the example of Lightworker for this because within spiritual communities, within New Age communities, like Lightworker is supposed to be this word or like this term that we use to, or that some people use to describe themselves as like someone that devotes themselves to, like, you know, being a light in the world, to creating you know, light in the world, however it is that they perceive that. And I mean, I guess I really wanted to like sort of even, my main word in this is perceive, because for me everything is perception in this dream. And so when we really get into this whole context of like, how do we determine who's supposed to be a light worker and who is not, and I want to take, for example, like I guess the term or the definition that I find when I like look up this word and the ways in which like people describe it. And so when they describe it as someone who, like, you know, like dedicates themselves to this, or this person has a mission, or like all of these sorts of definitions where for me personally I feel relate or really have influence on everyone. I feel like everyone is here for a reason. I don't think that there's anyone here on this planet that's just here to just be here. So this, when we use this whole sort of definition of it as like this person that has this mission, you know, to make something, make a change happen, or, you know, bring light to the world, or whatever, in what way, what happens is, what I'm, you know, noticing is that we determine who is supposed to be a light worker, who is a quote-unquote light worker, which really has started to just become some like a synonym that people use for like a good person or like a good Samaritan or something. But that's kind of like a side topic. What it really seems more like is like we judge people by what they're doing, and then we sort of weigh what they're doing in our own minds of like what we think is good or bad, and then we determine, you know, okay, that person's a light worker. Oh, okay, this person is not a light worker, because if they claim that they're doing this, but we feel like the way that we perceive their actions is, you know, like this, then we determine that that person's not a light worker. And so for me, when we get in this whole kind of space of like, and I guess I want to use the example like of Trump, because this is kind of how it came about in my mind. And it's not that I'm like some supporter of Trump or, you know, some friend of Trump or any of these things, but like when people sort of started, you know, taking sort of these situations and then being like, you know, Trump is no light worker and he's not going to create any sort of change, and I don't see how, you know, I'm not happy to see how these people that, you know, believe in him, you know, how they're going to get played and all this, and like, and I feel like we just get so wrapped up in these things that like we acknowledge like we're not even like involved in that dynamic, and then we involve ourselves and then judge that dynamic and then be like, well, that group of people is a bad group of people. Or you know what, I hope you hear what I'm kind of saying here, which is just like it becomes a whole nother level of separating people and of excluding people, and as much as like in our mind, you know, with our reasoning, we think, oh, well, it would make sense for us to put people in these categories, or for us to sort of, you know, define people in this way, because then we can know if they're good or bad. And I mean, in my world, or really in my lens, there really is no good or bad person. Everyone does things that we may see as quote-unquote good and quote-unquote bad. And depending upon the person, what you think is good, another person can think is bad. And so when everything is so subjective in this way, when there really is no truth in reality from that vantage point, I just find it really interesting how a lot of our spiritual communities sort of take these sorts of exclusionary ways of viewing people or viewing things, and then using that as like leverage, like spiritual leverage, for our argument for why we feel justified in our judging of other people. So I don't know, it's just really interesting, and I just wanted to bring up the whole sort of culture around labels, I guess, as I'm trying to find the right words to talk about this, because it's not even to say that labels are bad, because we can find ways in which that helps us to sort of, again, I've talked about this in several videos, how it helps us to sort of navigate this plane, for us to sort of understand things, for us to understand the relation between different things. Like, there is a place and a purpose for these things. I guess I just wanted to offer that sort of question of, like, in what space does using these terms become a way in which we use them to just make ourselves seem like better than other people, or use it as a sort of like a badge that makes us, higher on the spiritual ladder than someone else. Just because, again, from my experience and from my understanding, there is no hierarchy or ladder. So it's just, again, I just wanted to offer these sorts of conversational starters. Not that I think I'm starting the conversation, but just wanting to initiate this conversation through myself, because I guess I'm just really tired of really seeing a lot of the way we use language, especially within like our new age and our spiritual communities, it doesn't actually align with our intention. Because at the very least, I'm not here to say, again, whether things are good or bad. It's just, I recognize it does not align with our intention when we use these terms in these ways. Or at least if our intention is supposed to be bringing, the world together, bringing people together, bringing connection. I don't feel like we're going to bring connection by continuing to judge other people or shame them. All these types of things. But I don't know. These are just some of my thoughts as I was, looking through some of these conversations. Not just today, but just, as I've been discussing, why I don't really use astrology in my work anymore and all these sorts of things. It really evolves around, just for me, that the energy around it can be very, just like I said, limiting sometimes, and can be very like separating at times, when I feel like there are other terms or other things that we can use that may be a little bit more serving for what it is that we're intending. So yeah, I made this shorter than 10 minutes, so that's great. So thank you for watching this, and as always, offer bits of your input, or disagree with me if you would like to, agree with me if you would like to. Again, I just want to start the conversation, or have these conversations more openly, because this is really how we can either initiate change, or we're really just able to, if anything, initiate a deeper discussion, a deeper thought, deeper awareness about certain things. And in this one, I really want to talk about language. So yeah, it's actually Independence Day here in my country, so gonna go off to spend some time with my family. And if you celebrate as well, I hope you're doing the same and enjoying your day. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.